Hi everyone. For those of you who are not monastics and have heard a lot over the years about obedience to a spiritual father, well, of course, in most parishes we do not expect that lay people will be under the same sort of strict, unwavering obedience that you might find in a monastic situation. But if you were, how far would you be willing to go if your particular elder or superior wasn't someone that was very nice or someone that you even respected much? Well, on November 26th, and actually in November 29th in the Slavonic tradition, we celebrate in the church our Father among the Saints, Akakios of Mount Latros. Now, Akakios is someone who is actually mentioned in that wonderful book, The Ladder of Divine Ascent by St. John Climacus. And he was a youthful lad who found himself in a monastic situation very early on, and was someone who is said to be very sober-minded, very patient, and was really adept at obedience in the monastery. Well, the Lord certainly tested him in this, because he was given an elder that absolutely could not stand him. He was extremely mean to him, verbally assaulting him day in, day out, and in fact, not only assaulting him that way, but bodily injuring him as well, so that every day one might see a new bruise on his arm, or a black eye, or some sort of contusion in his head. You never knew what it was going to be, because this elder was absolutely merciless. Yet Akakios maintained his composure through all of this and maintained his obedience. So that one day, as St. John Climacus was visiting this monastery, and he had heard about Brother Akakios, he spoke with him and said, "How goes it, Brother Akakios? How are your toils? What have you gained?" And Brother Akakios would respond to him in all humility that I am trying my best, and that obedience is simply the word that came from paradise. Well, 9 years went by, and finally Brother Akakios gave up his spirit and went to the Lord. His elder, on being told that Akakios was dead, couldn't believe it. And so he went to the grave, and he spoke to Akakios' dead body as if he were still alive, and said, "Akakios, are you dead?" And lo and behold, through the miracle of God, Akakios did reply and said, "Father, how can anyone who toils and is faithful in obedience be considered dead?" This so struck this nasty elder that he completely repented on the spot for all the things that he had done to Akakios. And he built a chapel over his grave and spent the remaining years of his life in profound repentance and fear of the Lord, who had taught him such a great, great lesson. But the story doesn't end there. As time went on, another brother in the monastery died, and whether out of space concerns or it's hard to say what it was, but they had decided that they were going to put this brother in the same tomb as Father Akakios. So they did so. But yet when they came back the next day, the body of the brother was found outside of the tomb. And so once again, they put the body in the grave with Father Akakios. And the next day they came back, and yet again, the same thing happened. Now, at this point, the brother who was burying the brother got angry with Father Akakios and said, "You were so great in obedience, and yet why won't you let this, your brother, reside there with you in your tomb?" And said, "I'm putting him back in there with you this last time, and he should remain. Well, the next day they came back to the tomb again and found that indeed the newly reposed brother was in the grave of Father Akakios, but Father Akakios was gone, and his relics were never discovered after that. Make of that what you will, but Akakios, this young man who suffered for 9 miserable years under an unreasonable elder, showed that even obedience in this can gain a heavenly crown if we bear it with patience and love for the Lord. Bye-bye.